Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Backstick Podcast. I'm Jamil Roberts, and I'm joined here, as usual, by Mr. Dom Okus. Dom, how are you, mate?
I'm lovely, mate. I know at the beginning of these shows I usually say I've had a long day at work, but I haven't today. It's early. I'm feeling good. I got a fresh
Why is
trim
that? Why is that?
because I got a fresh trim. I'm feeling great. About to get some great food today, and obviously we're gonna talk to our Brazilian friend Mr. Pedro. So just want to say welcome to the podcast, bro. It's gonna be a good one.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Joma. Thanks, Long. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk to you guys.
Of course.
Yeah, and as are we, mate. And just for all of the listeners out there, this recording is taking place on Thanksgiving. So, from all of us at the Backstick Podcast, happy Thanksgiving, whether you celebrate or not. To all the listeners, we're thankful for you and thankful that Pedro's here. And let's get on with the episode. So, Pedro, my boy, we met a long time ago, way back in Huntington, West Virginia. We now find ourselves on this show, and a lot has happened between you and I in that time. I'm not going to talk about me. I'm going to talk about you. Okay. So, I'm going to go through the long list of accolades that this man has racked up since me and him met way back in 2017. So, we're going to go back, start off with an NCAA Division I national champion, 2021 Conference USA Player of the Year, 2022 MLS Next Pro Team of the Season, 2023 USL One League winner, 2024 USL One Player of the Year finalist, and just recently, congratulations on becoming the 2024 USL League One League and playoff double winners with Union Omaha. Mate, you are smashing it. Talk us through that little portion of success in your life, and then just a little touch on the 2024 season for you.
No, of course, Joma. Especially 2024 season, I had to win the cup just to match your accolades, because you won the cup too. So I'm like,
Mate,
no, I
welcome
can't
to the
be
winner's
far
circle, my
behind
boy.
Joma.
Welcome to the winner's circle.
I love it. I love it.
No, Bob, like you said, we met back in 2017. Maybe back then weren't the bestest of friends, but we always respected each other a lot, and like
Absolutely.
we always thought highly about each other, and like we knew we worked so hard on the field no matter what. But yeah, I mean, almost 10 years. It's coming. It's coming
Crazy,
the
man.
10-year anniversary, but it's
Crazy.
been a long journey, but it's just getting started. I feel like.
Yeah, you're not wrong, mate. You're not wrong, and I think it's funny that you bring that up because I do forget, and people I don't think would would ever guess that me and you didn't actually get on very well our freshman year. It wasn't, or maybe it wasn't that we didn't get on. It was just maybe two very different people at the time, and certainly I think like a lot of lads that come over from England had a bit of a chip on his shoulder, thought he was gonna run the rooster a
Yeah,
little
we had
bit.
different groups. Yeah, we
Yeah,
had
for
different
sure.
groups.
Very, very divided at the time. I don't think it was anything to do with me and Pedro specifically.
Hmm.
However, obviously, I can only talk about my experience and sort of turned up and realised I wasn't king of the hill and had to adapt to that. But Pedro, what was obviously you went a little bit of a different route to me to get to Marshall. So, firstly, I just want to touch on why did you end up at Pennington School and do high school in America as opposed to staying in Brazil a little bit longer and then making the jump to college?
No, obviously, when I was already back in 2014. It was my second year in Sao Paulo, in the academy. But I was already not playing much, and like we're not stupid, we're players. We already know what's the deal is. So I
Mhm.
started to like look at other options, and I went to an American school growing up, and I had this thing of going to the US. I always wanted to go to the US to do something, to use my English or like, because I really liked the culture from the start. And then I got in touch with a agency that obviously now it's more and more popular, that brings players
huge now, man.
from
Huge.
Brazil to the US to go to college, to go to high school, just to start a new life. And I didn't feel like, going back home and living with my parents. So I started like to train once a week over there, even though I was still in Sao Paulo. I would go there like kind of hidden, just to get to know the agency, and I get familiar with the coaches and with the owners. And then they organized the trip to a Disney showcase, a Disney Cup, if you would say, in December. So that's when I went for the first time to play soccer in the US against like some MLS academies and all that. And then I really enjoyed like how it worked over there, the quality of the pitches, the way they valued football, like everything on the news. And then I had a friend of mine that went with me to the showcase, and then he ended up going to this high school in New Jersey. And then he had a great year there, senior year, whatever, preparing him to go to college. And then he told the coach, "Oh, you need to get Pedro, bring him in." And then I was kind of a bit lost in Brazil, didn't know what my next step was. I really wanted to go to the US, but I didn't know if it was going to happen or not. So then back in 2016, I was about to graduate high school in Brazil, halfway through. And then in the middle of the year, I decided to go to the US, to go to this a new journey in New Jersey. That was a tough one to say. But it was amazing. It was amazing. I mean, it's in the end, everything paid off, but living home is never easy, even though, I mean, we play in academy, but especially going to a different country, home is not like an hour away anymore. It's like 3 planes. So it's different.
Yeah. I just want to circle back a little bit. So you mentioned there that your boy was already at Pennington. What was his name? Because I think there's a lot of people out there that need to thank him for making sure that you went there and went and started the journey that you went on. So what was his name?
No, funny enough, his name is Paulo. Paulo. Paulo Aires.
Okay.
And he always played with me here growing up and stuff, but he was never 100% focused. He was more for the vibes. But like I kind of like travel with him around. Like he was friends with Diaz as well, Vitor Diaz. And then he told the coach, and then and you're far away from home, and like that's all you have to do is play soccer. In the end, you just give it 100% because there's no other stuff going on. So that's how it was for me.
Quick question I had. So you mentioned that being at Sao Paulo and being away from home. So does the academy system in Brazil work where you go and live at the academy and you're kind of like in a school with Sao Paulo? Is that how that works?
Yes. It was São Paulo was known back in the day to be like the best academy, the best structure. Everybody wanted to go to São Paulo because like 10 years ago, the other teams like they didn't put too much money in the academy. Like where the players lived was not good. So like the parents, I would say, from other players were kind of reluctant to let the kids go. So like São Paulo was different. Like the first time I went to São Paulo for a trial was in 2009. So from 2000, when I moved to São Paulo was to 2013. So 4 years since I was 10 years old, I would go like 3 times a year to spend a whole week there training with São Paulo to see if they still liked me. So it was like I don't know, going back to your long distance girlfriend, when you go back home and you say, "Oh, do I still like her?" Okay, come back. I'm still a player. So you keep going back until long distance ends, and then when you turn like 13, that's when they're like, okay, now you come live with us. There are like 200 players in the final tryout, and then like they said, oh, we picked 40 players to live here and like start U14 over there. So that's pretty much in 2013 January. I got the call like, oh, Pedro, you're being approved to you Sao Paulo player, like this year contract. And
That's
then from
interesting.
there, like you live in the facilities, and then private school every morning, you know, like
Wow.
which for many of the
Wow.
kids, like coming from poor places, they like never went to school, never, you know, like were like 3 years behind from their age. So it was like a different environment for sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Jam, can you
Yeah.
imagine like at 14 getting up and leaving and going, I don't know, from where you grew up to like Manchester or something or Newcastle, like just on
Nah.
your own?
I mean,
Mad.
if it was United, I think I'd be all right, but anywhere else. But no, 100%, mate. And Brazil's not a little country. Like we're talking about, just up north in England. So I correct me if I'm wrong, Pedro, but Brazil is how far from, say, I don't know, like the southern part of Brazil, if lads are coming up to sign for Sao Paulo, like are they flying up? Is that a long drive? What does that look like?
No, like Brazil is huge, you know, like it's like we have like over 200 million people in the country, and like it's most South America is Brazil. So it's like it's far away. Like me from my drive from here to São Paulo, for example, is like 16 hours, 14
Oh,
hours.
wow.
So I couldn't drive home. I had to fly like everywhere. And in the south, even like further away. In the south, like
Wow.
it's you had to take two flights sometimes. So, but yeah, for many of the kids, it was like the chance to change their life and their life of their families, you know. So
Yeah,
they
absolutely,
it
absolutely.
was that, or and then you get like some players that like maybe had more conditions, you know, come from like family that had like more, you know, like money or whatever, and they saw you like, why are you here? Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
don't need it. Like, you're taking my spot. Why you go home? You know, like I need
Yeah.
this. You know, so like in some
No, it's
cases,
dog eat
like
dog. Dog eat
Yeah,
dog.
man. Yeah,
no,
And
interesting, man. Wow.
100%.
it's very. Do you know what? A lot of other nations, and I've been told this whilst I've been in America as well, but maybe not to the level that you're experiencing there, sorry, that you're talking about there, Pedro. But England and Brazil are very synonymous in that for some kids and for a lot of families, football's the only way out. Like you could have
No,
bad
100%.
kids or poor families or poor living conditions, and football is the only way out. And if it's not that, then what do these kids do? You hear so many stories. One that always sticks out to me was the documentary where they followed the Brazil team in Copa America, and they talked about Gabriel Jesus, and like just hearing what he went from to get to obviously playing for Man City and Arsenal and the national team. It's real. Like it is dog eat dog, and everyone is fighting not just for a contract, but they're fighting for the lives of themselves and their family's future. It's really that serious.
Yeah, I
No,
completely agree. I mean,
it is.
if you think about some of the greatest players that have played for England, I'm sure it's the same for Brazil, but you think about like Wayne Rooney, he grew up in kind of like a council
Council
environment.
estate.
You think about Rio Ferdinand, he grew up on like one of the most notorious estates in Peckham. You think about Steven Gerrard, like all of these players come from like really, really humble beginnings. And so for them to get the opportunity to go from that to like completely changing their family's lives for generations as well, right? Like this isn't just a thing where you're rich now, like your kids are looked after because of what you've been able to achieve. So it's amazing what football can do, man.
Yeah, honestly. So
Yeah.
on that,
No, and
Pedro, actually.
crime is the just to point like
Mm,
as
mm,
well, like agreeing
yeah,
with you
yeah,
guys,
go
like
ahead.
crime is the easier way out, you know. All your all the kids friends are like you know, going to the bad path, and then for one of them to stick out and say, no, I don't want any of that, I don't want to be like associated with you guys, and like I'm gonna take the path of soccer. So it's like on football, it's like it's crazy how football save lives, like you guys said.
Yeah, yeah. I
100%.
mean, it's exact same as, I'm sure it's more synonymous in London, Dom, than I'll be honest. Let's call a spade a spade. It's probably more synonymous in London than most parts of the world. That, you know, for some kids it is football or falling into crime. You think about lads like, for example, Ravel Morrison,
Now
obviously
Ranger.
up at United, and you know, just yeah, exactly. You know, like, just lads that were so talented that were just dragged the other way. So it's not just about, you know, going one way or the other. It's about sticking to that path as well. Because, you know, Ravel Morrison, you've got Alex Ferguson saying that he's the best player he's ever seen. And he, played 2 games for United, had 1 decent season at West Ham where you thought this guy's a freak. And then other than that, just never did anything because he, you know, for whatever reason in his personal life, just never reached the level that he should have got to. So it's mad how England and Brazil are very similar in that aspect.
So Pedro, this actually leads me to a really good like segue in that, and this probably doesn't apply to you, but like I think about a player like Ravel Morrison, right? Or I think about a player like Nile Ranger, who have come from like very humble beginnings, very like violent backgrounds, and I'm sure it's the same in Brazil. So like, what is the club doing for these players who you say like at 14 are 3 years behind their reading level and stuff like that? Like, what is the club doing to make sure that they're like taken care of in that way, if anything?
No, there's a an interesting story with Endrick to answer your question. On like, Endrick he's from Brasilia too, where I'm from, and we had a partnership with our local club in Sao Paulo to send players, do well here and go to Sao Paulo for trials. But Endrick's family was very, very poor, very, very poor. And Sao Paulo, he was a beast growing up, like the best player, academy, whatever. Like everybody wanted him. And Sao Paulo, like, had the policy that like they couldn't like have the whole family move to the city just for the player. If you're like 12 years old, whatever, they just would bring the player in. The family is like, I'm sorry, and so they offer him like zero money pretty much for Endrick, like, and like he couldn't help his family at all. Why Palmeiras? He went to Palmeiras after that. After he said no, I don't want to stay in São Paulo, and Palmeiras took his father in as a kit man for like
Wow.
the academy. So to help, meaning, like, first of all, I think he was as a janitor, cleaning the locker rooms and stuff, while Endrick was playing like youth academy, U11, U12, whatever. And then after a janitor, they promoted his father as a kit man of the academy, and then after that, he became the kit man of the first team, Endrick's father. So like they provided like a pathway for his family, like, because of how good Endrick was, and they were able to help him develop. And maybe he's still very young. He's not maybe the best player that we wanted him to be right now, which obviously it's like so hard for a guy that's like 17, 18 years old. But just to see like how some of the clubs are able to like help these kids like stay on the right path and provide for their families is like, it's great. It's like, so Palmeiras changed the life of Endrick, for example, and his family, I would say.
For
Yeah.
sure. For sure.
And that's such a big commitment at that age as well. That's unbelievable from the football club. And obviously they're not doing that for every single player, and they must have seen that something special in him. But clearly they were right, because he's gone on to play for Real Madrid, and I'm sure Palmeiras have got more than their share of compensation in the fee that they got from Real Madrid. So I'm sure it worked out well for everyone in the end.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
Don't you just think it's crazy though that as a 12-year-old you've got your family on your back? Like, how much pressure is that to, as a 12-year-old, like, the livelihood of myself and my family depends on how well I kick this football. And he's just like bearing that. And he's just bearing that, wearing it, and like just turning up every day. It's crazy. 12 years old. Madness. Madness.
No, it's insane. Your family moves cities for you, and you're like, you're 12 years old.
But mate, it makes sense now when you see that he comes on for Real Madrid and he's got Vini Jr. on one side, he's got Rodrigo on one side, he's got Mbappe ahead of him, and he shoots from 30 yards. Like he's just had the weight of his family's future on his shoulders since he was 12 years old. I'm sure he looks left and right and goes, Vinny, don't worry about it. Yeah, Rodrigo, stay over there. Mbappe, just move out the way a little bit because I'm gonna. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm all good. Yeah, cool. Like that. Some stones on the kid. Bloody hell.
Yeah,
yes,
madness.
a lot. Today. The best players of the world around you, and you're like, I'm not gonna give you the ball.
Yeah. Oh God, mate, that's an excellent start to the show. I did not expect us to dig as deep as we got into that. That was brilliant.
Thanks.
But I think obviously we've discussed a lot of the past and sort of Brazil, and I want to talk about the present and what has recently happened, mate. So obviously, as we discussed at the beginning, you've recently won the double, the USL One double, and you were a finalist and the Player of the Year to go along with it. Got the nickname Goalabella this year from the league. What was it? 16 goals and 4 or 5 assists?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Too many to count. He
got one in the final. So it's nice. As I said, he's joining the club, scoring in the final, USL Winners Club. You know, it's nice to have you in, mate.
Yeah, tell me about that. Scoring in finals. You piece of shit.
Dom, do you want to know what's funny? Yeah, and I know Pedro remembers this. So we'll touch on Marshall later on, but in the semi-final, right? So the semi-final against North Carolina, there's a picture of me and him like looking at each other after we celebrating the goal, and it looks like literally like we're looking at each other like it's like Jesus like in a mirror, you know, like we just saw like the Holy Grail. And the funny thing is I know what actually happened in that reality is he gave me a hug and he went, Jammer, you motherfucker, you're taking all my dreams.
He's making my dreams come true, this guy. That's why he's my hero forever. Forever, Jamil is my hero. Forever. Nothing will ever change that.
Amazing.
But anyway, Pedro, just give us a brief rundown of the playoffs. You know, a brief summary of all the games, and then obviously the final. You get your goal. Just talk us through that in a little bit of detail there.
No, straight to the playoffs. You want to talk about? Okay.
Yeah.
The playoffs. The playoffs involves a lot of our teammate Mechack. You know, Jérôme Mechack.
Of course, yeah.
Because we were gonna play Saturday, you know, and what happened Saturday or Sunday, and what happened to him happened like 2 days before the game. You know, the accident.
Yeah.
So but besides that, we had a big chip on our shoulders from the year before, back in 2023. I mean, we won the league, but we lost semifinals at home on PKs to Charlotte, and we dominated the game. And we were like, okay, you guys are a good team, but when it gets tough, when it's go time, you guys crumble. You know, like you guys can't finish the job. So this year, we went to playoffs at home again, another chance to play the 3 games at home. So we're ready to face it, locked in. You know, we just won against Tormenta, and then had celebrated with the trophy at the field, and then boom, accident with Mechack. We didn't know really much what happened. We trained, he didn't show up. We were speculating, where is he, you know, and then after training we had a meeting and they said that terrible thing had happened, but we didn't know how bad it was. We just heard that he was in the hospital, he had an accident, and then people started to talk and stuff. A lot of emotions in the locker room. And then the story came out. We found out what happened, and then the day before the game, we had to make a decision if we wanted to play or not. Like nobody was in 100% condition to play. Like even training was tough. Thinking about stuff all the time, we couldn't really focus. Just think about our teammate being like in the ICU pretty much, And we decided no, we were gonna do this run for Mechack, and we can't let him down. That's what he wanted us to do, to go and play hard. So we decided as a group to stick up and play. So we played the Richmond. It was the hardest game of the playoff, I would say, because of all that happened, but also like they put a good performance against us, and like even though we prepared really well, there was a time in a corner where they hit the crossbar twice, and then we're like, wow, how does this ball didn't go in? And then after we scored in the corner, so that was like a big moment that we said, oh, this the reason why the ball didn't go in was because of Mechack. He saved us
Yeah,
on the
for
ball big
sure.
time.
It
So
was meant to be 100%, mate. 100%.
so yeah, and then
Yeah, sorry,
I
continue.
mean, I don't know if you want to comment on that or whatever, but then the fans brought like a big post of his number two Jérôme and stuff like, and then we all took a picture in uh, in the end, like after the win over there. So that was, I think, the hardest game of the playoff because of I never played in a condition like that before, mentally. So that took a lot of the guys and stuff. But after that game, I think like he started to get better. We had like some positive news, and then we faced Greenville, which is like a rivalry for the club, big rivalry for the club, that they have a belt. Whoever wins takes the belt. And then we go in a game more relaxed. Not like too. I guess we were too relaxed on that game, and then they scored in the first 5 minutes. They scored one goal. And then we're like, oh shoot, we have to step up right now, and like. But after that, we dominated pretty much the whole game, like a lot of shots. And then as soon as the first goal went in, we knew we were gonna win the game. And then we scored in the 60th to get through, and it was like was great, it was unbelievable. And then like leading up to the final, it's like I told the guys like I had a similar feeling that when we were back in Marshall, like the group was so united, like it was great vibes. Like I was a bit hurt on both my groin. I had to do like recovery the whole week. Didn't train a single day, just the day before the final. And then
That's what big time
not
players
that I'm
do, mate.
Ronaldo or anything, but I couldn't
There we go.
but and then we went to the game like very confident. We beat those guys a lot of times before, and we knew like we had more news that Mechack was getting better. So then we came in flying. Max, our teammate, scored a 3 minutes in, boom, header, and
What a header as
was
well.
fully packed the
Schnicks.
stadium. Crazy header. Funny story is like during the week he was taking the corners actually, and I was like besides with Dos Santos. Dos Santos wasn't training either, and Max's corners were not hitting too well. It was like from post, he was deeping too much, and then we're like, maybe if we put Gallardo there, we put Max in the front post. We have an extra man, like tall guy, to score. And then okay, we changed it. So front post was Gallardo, back post was Max. So we already know. We didn't even have signals. We already know whoever took it was front post one, back post the other. Next thing you know, Max goes in the front post alone, completely free. Boom, crazy cross, amazing header. Boom, and then we exploded. It's great. And then after,
Tactico.
it was winning on set piece is unbelievable because the other team gets so pissed too. So and then right after that, I think on the 90th minute, another corner, and then hit the other guy, and then the ball landed in front of me. I'm like, there's no way this is happening right now. In front of me, boom, Like, what happened to you?
No, mine was world-class movement. Now, come on.
No, to be fair, yes, you follow everything. Jimbo with the runs, amazing. And then for me, it just
No.
landed there. I'm like, boom, I'm just gonna lace it. Boom. Sorry, Brooks, your friend. And then,
Shout out Brooksy, man. Brooksy, what a playoff run again. The penalty saves, but Pedro won this time.
no, good guy, Brooks, great guy. And then obviously the big celebration at we went to the Jérôme sign again. And then the game was pretty much done. I mean, they had no shots on target. And then we ended up 3-0 second half. And then,
Is it Kunga got the last goal?
yeah, Kunga,
Mm-hmm.
what a player.
Yeah, he's
What
fast.
a player he is. So it was madness. And then
He's one of the most difficult players I had to mark this season. Absolutely.
no, for sure. No, it's
Just don't know which way he goes. He can go both ways, and his first 5 yards are so quick.
You saying, Jam, did you get ripped?
I didn't get ripped. I was injured when I travelled to them, so I played the last 5 minutes.
Right.
But we'll get onto that in a little bit. But Pedro, honestly, mate, it was. I watched all the games in the playoffs, and I thought you boys. I know you sort of downplay. You always do to try and stay humble, but I'll be the one to big you up. I thought from playing against you guys throughout the year and watching the playoff run, it was clear to anyone with eyes that you guys were by far the best team in the league this year, and you got what you deserved. Obviously, everyone at the Backstick podcast sends all the best wishes to Mechack and his family. We're all with you, and we hope that you're just continuing to make a speedy recovery and get yourself right before we can get you back out on the pitch, mate. Now, back to the football.
Thank you, Jamil. Thank you.
No, of course, mate, and I know Dom echoes that as well. So,
100%, man.
But yeah, going back to the football, and just talking about the season in general, and I guess it's probably a good opportunity, like you said there, to sort of touch on. It was the first time that me and Pedro had been on the field together, not in the same uniform. And I remember the first time was in Chattanooga. Was it a cup game or a league game? I think it was a cup game.
I think it was league, and then the game we played with Purple against you.
Yeah.
Cup. Yeah.
So it was such a weird feeling. Like it was the first genuinely, it was the first time where I played against someone where like I had to really try to not see him as like my boy anymore. Like I had to take personal situation out of it and purely look at it as business, because like I mean, how many times we've played so many games together. We know each other as players inside out, as people inside out. We've shared so much together. So it was for me at least, it was really weird. I don't know if you felt the same way on that first time we played against each other.
No, I feel the same, Jim. Obviously, I look at you. I already wanted to chat with you because first of all, I haven't seen you in years. I see you. I'm like, oh, okay, we can chat a little bit now. But then it's time to. You're my enemy now. So I'm just like, okay, like, you know, like. And I remember on the second game, on the cup game, when I was on the right side, like close to you one time, and I knew it. I know you. I know the player you are. You came to crush me big time. I'm already, and he just like came full power. Boom! I like jumped a little bit, got out of the way, and just started laughing because I knew he was gonna do it. This clown. No friendship there.
I'm a defender now, man. I'm hard hitting, no nonsense left back.
That's
I love
true.
it.
Question I have, boys, like when you lot are doing the scout, are you lot hyping up a little bit more now that you know each other? So, for example, if we know Jam's playing left back, oh yeah, get him on his right foot. Or for you, Pedro, Jam, you might be like, yeah, get stuck into him. He might not fancy it, or make sure to show him on his left foot, or whatever it is. So, are you guys doing that, or you just kind of just acting as you would in any other game?
I mean, for me, it's like they do all the scouting. It's like the scouting is a lot already. The coaches like
Right.
put so much stuff into the scouting and so much effort on. So like for me, I would say one thing I said to Kunga, the right winger. I told him like Lagos, Jamil is a winger. Okay, he's a winger. I've seen him his whole life playing as a winger. Yeah, he's a good defender, but he's a winger. You have to go, man. Go attack and try to dribble him. So like, but in the other side, obviously, like on the opposite side, it's like the player's qualities too. Like I know
For sure.
Gemma's qualities. I know like the balls he put in behind the defenders. I know like the power he has, like the speed he has, and like how competitive he is. So like, I rather talk about like the things that he can hurt us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
I
I
very
think
much,
that's what I know the most.
I
Mm.
very much agree because so it was funny. The first game that we played this season, the way that we sort of did our scout this year, we had I guess like the first slideshow was always like the key players to look out for on the other team, and Pedro wasn't one of them. And I was looking at I won't name names, but there was a couple of names that were on there that I thought, I'll be real, they just weren't as much of a threat as Pedro was, especially for the weaknesses that we had as a team as well. So that was a situation where I went to the staff and said, listen, like, I don't think like you'd be foolish to underestimate what he's got. And then funny enough, he scored 10 minutes in. And like, then from then on, the other 3 games we played him in the year, he's the one player that we need to watch in the scout every single time. And so I think there's an element of, yes, you kind of talk about how the players' qualities, like Pedro said, but sometimes the qualities speak for themselves. Like Pedro did his thing when he played against us, and that forces the hand. I don't have to go to the coaches anymore because he's doing his thing. And now the coaches are aware, and it's not like I don't have to do that extra job, I guess.
For sure. Fire. Okay. Yeah, because I remember like when I would play against my friends that I know at other schools, it's exactly what Pedro described earlier when he's saying, as soon as they take a touch, I'm lifting them. Like, that's my man. I'm lifting them. I don't care if you're my boy. We can have a drink afterwards, but right now, I'm lifting you.
Hey. Pedro's cheeky, because he's talking about me trying to smash him, but Pedro's got one in him as well. So don't sit there and be fooled to thinking that Pedro's all this nice guy, all this and that. No, Pedro is a bastard when he wants to be on the pitch.
I
could see that. I could definitely see that.
No, you gotta like Mourinho say, German, you're the same, bro. You nice guys though, and you gotta be a cunt, bro. I think I got suspended like fucking 3 times this season, bro.
Oh god. Oh mate, it's spot on. Mourinho, spot on, man. And do you know what's funny is I used that as a pre-game speech once this season as well.
Yeah. You have to.
So,
so
God. I think this is actually a good opportunity for me to take us into the next section, because I think anyone who's been watching this podcast for the last 40 minutes can see the chemistry that you both have. Obviously, we mentioned at the beginning you lot won a national title, and like it takes like a lot of things coming together. A good team, a good locker room, bit of luck for you to win a national championship. So I actually want to take it back to you all's time at Marshall. I remember seeing it all over Instagram, Jam coming and really clutch of all the goals. Obviously, Pedro, you contributing. You had an amazing team. Alao, who I know is also part of that team. Colin. I actually want to take it back to 2017 to talk about Marshall. And like, obviously, when you went there, they weren't even a school that people were talking about in D1 soccer, if we're being real. And to take it from there to winning the championship. So I just want to talk a little bit about like you both being there and kind of building that school up. And Pedro, I'll kind of start with you.